Hello Taurus, welcome to your July forecast for the year of 2017. I am Kiana Mayfield from LibraLunaCenter.com, and this month is all about lifting us up and preparing for the eclipse season to arrive in August of 2017, right? And for you, July is all about bringing you to your greatest truth, Taurus. I'm feeling for you that there is this facade, this barrier of entry that you've slowly been chiseling away at, right? Like a sculptor, chiseling away at the definition of who you are. Right? Because who you are is changing, is becoming dynamic. And this is a new concept for most of the Taurus energy in the world, right? Because we think of Taurus as this rock solid sign, right? The fixed sign of the earth, right? The most stagnant form of energy, crystallized in time, right? But you're finding that your truth lies outside of whatever boundaries, whatever realms, whatever sticks and stones you have constructed this identity upon. Okay, so in the beginning of the month, July 1st, we have Chiron stationing retrograde, 28 degrees Pisces. And for you, this is happening in the area of your chart that has to do with your place in the world, society, your hopes, wishes, and dreams. What area of life, as well as what you're subscribed to, right? What groups you belong to, what areas of the world does your identity build its foundation upon, right? Because you can be subscribed to a certain group, right, with certain belief systems, certain values, certain circumscribed patterns of behavior, right? The things that make you a normal part of this area of society, right? Whatever you're subscribed to, you're ripping the Band-Aid off of this area of your life. As you have in the beginning of the month, all of this energy building up in Cancer, right? In your third house, the area of your mind, the area of your perception of your environment, the perception of who you are, the perception of where your power is, and where it meets the power of the other, right? Where your boundaries are, where your limitations are, what makes you a solid individual, right? And how your individuality is able to influence your environment, right? And this is shifting, right? This is shifting because you recognize that who you are is a dynamic, very, very dynamic, creative individual. Something that cannot be pinpointed as a single entity. Something that cannot be pinpointed as some solid, hard, encased form of matter, right? The ego is being reborn, in a sense. And where you have felt the fear, the subconscious fear, the pull and the drainage of your being into this area of your life where you feel like you must be a certain type of person, right? You feel like you must give up who you are for the sake of this ego that people have identified you as. this identity that people have become accustomed to, right? They're comfortable with who you are. And in a sense, you are as well. And so the fear of breaking out of the mold, breaking out of your own mold, breaking out of your own ego is what's being healed, is what's being discovered, is what's being heavily investigated, right? And so from July 4th through the 5th, we have Venus entering Gemini, which for you is your 2nd house, and we have Mercury entering Leo, your 4th house, and we have Neptune in Pisces, forming its final quincunx to Jupiter in Libra for the 3rd and final time, right? And for you, this is happening in your 11th and your 6th house. Taurus. Taurus, this is about the valuing of yourself on a new level, right? Though you are the sign of the sacred bull, right? The sacred cow, that which harnesses, utilizes, recognizes, and gives value to its own resources, right? And in a sense, can be looked at as one of the most stingiest signs, because there is this high degree of self-value that you must cultivate throughout your lifetime, right? But you're recognizing whatever this internal shift is, Taurus, for you, breaking out of this mold, breaking out of this fixed pattern of identity that you're used to, requires a whole new level of self-worth, requires a whole new level of self-perception, even of giving value to what lies beneath the surface versus what is on the surface, what is made readily available, readily perceivable by everyone else around you. It's not about what everyone can see. It's about what you can see when your eyes are closed, right? Got a similar energy for Capricorn, but for you, this comes down to valuing what that vision is, valuing the pictures that are not crystallized, valuing the part of yourself that is not set in stone, that is somewhat ephemeral, that is somewhat unknown, that is somewhat spontaneous, right? This side of yourself needs a greater degree of your attention and your value. When you give that greater degree of value on your invisible self, right? This is when you come into yourself, you come into your power, you come into everything that has not made sense, right? Everything where you have, everywhere where you have felt stuck, right? Stuck in the same cycle, stuck in the same patterns and the forms of behavior and the mundane reality, right? How you make your life more exciting, Taurus, is by valuing what is beneath the surface, valuing what is invisible, what is not easily perceivable by way of your physical senses. It is the valuing and the harnessing of your extra senses, right? Your 6th sense, your intuitive sense. That which is not given free range in our society, that which is held down and suppressed. You must open the channels in your own body to be able to allow this invisible self to have a voice, right? Okay, and so this is a hard thing for Tauruses to allow, right? Because they are so fixed, because they are so rooted in their body, because they are so, once they get to a point, right? Once they get to a point of value, of self-value, of self-identity, they become rooted in this spot, right? They think this is who they are and this is who they'll always be. And they hold fast to it. And everyone else around them knows it, right? Everyone else around them, to a certain extent, accepts them. Accepts them for this surface level form of identification, right? But that's not enough for you anymore, Taurus. This is not enough for you. And with this approaching eclipse season preparing to happen in your 10th and 4th house, right? The bottom as well as the top of your chart. What lies beneath the surface? This invisible self can no longer be contained. Or else it will take everything else on the surface with it, right? It will swallow, it will vacuum everything that does not bring you true happiness along with it, right? Leo requires a tremendous degree of courage. And you must have courage to embrace this invisible self, right? To embrace your inner yearnings, to embrace the imaginative part of yourself that you have not necessarily been giving your full investment, your full value, right? Because when you give something value, you take it 100%, as all fixed signs do. And all fixed signs, in a sense, in our history have been misused, right? And with Taurus energy, the Taurus archetype, how the Taurus archetype has been misused in our history is in regards to the overvaluing of the material over the immaterial, over the visible versus the invisible, over the matter versus the spirit, right? Because though we incarnate into these bodies, we are not of these bodies, right? And when you forsake your natural spiritual heritage, the body loses its sacredness because it's losing its true form of identification, which is the vessel of the soul. This is the true purpose of the bodies that we have incarnated in, is to become the vessels of our higher self, of our spiritual, spontaneous nature, our invisible selves, right? But when you, in a sense, worship the body, worship the matter, and forget the invisible, everything is distorted. Right? And you're coming to this culmination with the full moon in Capricorn, conjuncting Pluto retrograde in your 9th house from July 8th through the 9th of 2017, right? This full moon in Capricorn for you is about unlocking your passion, unlocking the energy systems of your body, right? And releasing old, I'm feeling heavy belief systems that are giving greater value over or to the visible over the invisible, right? This is requiring a complete shift. And not only your perception, but in your belief in yourself, Taurus. The belief in your invisible nature, in what is not made easy to perceive. It is in your belief of this area of your life where you find you are set free from where you have felt stuck. And where you have felt stuck. Saturn in Sagittarius, retrograde in your 8th house. The ties into who you believe people expect you to be. Your ties into the utilization and the contribution of your personal energy, right? Was it all for nothing is the ultimate question. Was it all for nothing? If it is not ultimately contributing to the spontaneous part of my nature that I've been repressing, right? I've been living in this matrix. And so was it all for nothing? And in a sense, this question is not irrelevant because the box, in a sense, has never really existed except in our own minds. And so, in a sense, we trap ourselves unwillingly but willingly, right? We trap our own inner knowing where we see, right? And we believe we do not see. This is where the cognitive dissonance arrives. Because you've always seen, but you've never believed in what you've seen. And so now you're breaking out of this cycle. You're breaking out of your own form of hypnosis. Scorpio got a similar energy, but this is your opposite sign, right? And this is all about where the beliefs, Taurus, for you have been overly set in stone, overly crystallized, overly dense, and filled with a sense of almost like cementing your dreams, right? Cementing your identity. When all along, it's all about the passion, it's all about the fire, it's all about the spontaneity of your true nature, right? And it cannot be crystallized, it cannot be cemented. And where it is false identity, right? Where you are able to crystallize, able to cement a part of your belief systems, this is where the fallacy lies, right? Because spirit cannot be contained. And you're recognizing this, right? So we have the last quarter square of the moon in Aries in your 12th house, conjuncting Uranus at its highest degree it will arrive at this year, right? So Uranus, 28 degrees Aries, because it will retrograde next month. And so with the moon conjuncting this spot for you and squaring over to the sun and Mars and Cancer in your 3rd house, your 12th and your 3rd, right? And this is happening July 16th. So for you, Taurus, again, you are coming to this fork in the road, right? And this fork in the road has to do with, are you going to live in what you've always lived in before, right? Are you going to live as this sort of, this crystallized, overly, encased and enclosed reality, right? Are you going to allow it to consume you? Or are you going to shift? Are you going to allow this fire, this spontaneous energy waiting to combust, right? To come out, to topple over your subconscious resistance, right? You basically, Taurus, have to burn away. You have to burn away your resistance. You have to burn away where you have crystallized yourself into this overly structured, overly rigid form of identity, because you cannot be contained. You, the true essence of you, cannot be contained. And so whatever this is that you've been fighting for, it's not you. It's not the essence of you. You have to allow it. You have to be open to allowing this to shift. And only then do you find your place in this world, Taurus. Do you find what you've been seeking in the outer world, right? Because you can acquire all sorts of new things to contribute to this level of self-identity, right? But ultimately it comes down to accepting the fire and the flame within, right? The one that is unnameable, the one that is unlabelable, the one that is immaterial, the one that is transient, the one that cannot ever in any shape or form be cemented. And so this is building up to the new moon in Leo, which will be conjuncting Mars. And this is opening a portal, right? July 23rd is when this is happening. So this will be opening up a portal to the approaching eclipse, solar eclipse, total solar eclipse in Leo, because we will be having 2 new moons in Leo this year. And this eclipse will be happening August 21st. And so we're opening a 4-week portal in between that time, right? And for you, this is happening at the bottom, the base of your chart, Taurus. Allow the fire. Allow the fire in. Allow the fire to pierce you. Allow your edges to be melted away. Because it's only when you willingly sacrifice who you think you are that you actually find your happiness. That you find what has eluded you, what has kept you in the cycle of, for some reason I'm hearing rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat, whatever that means to you, Taurus. But it's constantly a cycle of attempting to give birth to your identity over and over and over and over and over again, right? And the reason why it's never ultimately fulfilled you is because it's not anything you can see. It's not anything that is perceivable. It's invisible. It's only felt. And when you give precedence to your feelings over your vision, over your physical vision, over the vision of your physical senses, that it all starts to slowly make sense for you. And it's about getting back to what is most important, right? What is most important to you. And in a sense, you are returning to the earth. You are returning to your power, Taurus. Because your power lies at the center of the earth. Your power lies in the fire beneath the earth. The lava beneath the earth. This hotness that you arrive at is what needs to be harnessed. Okay, so we have Mercury entering Virgo on the 25th of July. And it will be staying in this area until the end of September, because it will retrograde next month. And for you, this is happening in your 5th house, right? In the area of your chart that has to do with your inner child, that has to do with your fire, right? Your expression, how you express yourself, Taurus, is being reworked subtly, right? Because Mercury's in its domicile position in Virgo, right? Because Virgo rules Mercury, and Virgo is the most analytical sign of the zodiac, the most investigative, the most perceptive, right? By way of the physical senses, it is the studying of your inner child, the studying of what makes you tick, even. Your avenues, your potential avenues, your direct modes and channels of creative expression are being subtly looked at, right? Are being reviewed, in a sense, are being investigated, because to a certain degree, Taurus, I don't think you exactly know what you're capable of. And you're figuring this out, right? You're attempting to get to the bottom of what the child within you yearns for, what the fire within you yearns to express, and in what ways, in what physical ways can you express? In what avenues of self-expression can this fire be lit up within you? Because it requires a new way of operating in the world, of expressing yourself in the world, of relating to society. And this new way is unknown, right? This new way must be given a deep, deep look and dive into the depths of your creative potential. And Saturn is beginning to stop, because it will station direct next month as well. We have a lot of things going on next month, and so this is the prep, right? And Saturn beginning to stop at 21 degrees. Once it reaches 21 degrees, for you, the area where you feel stuck, as I said before, with this full moon in Capricorn, which is highlighting it, because Capricorn, or Saturn, rules Capricorn, right? And for you, this is your commitments, right? Your investment of energy, your even yes, where you have invested your time and energy into, even your money perhaps, where you feel that you are bound, Taurus, to a certain investment of yourself, investment of your ego into this this certain belief system, right? This certain way of relating to the world is being transcended, but this is where you feel most stuck, right? This is where you feel like you can't break the chain. But it's only in your investment in this particular path that you feel like you're bound, right? That you feel like this is the limits of where you are able to go. This is the limits of what you're able to invest, what you're able to capitalize on, right? And it's by the belief in your specific forms of creative self-expression that contribute to this inner fire and flame, right? That contribute to the aspect of yourself that is dynamic and constantly changing. That you break this pattern, that you break these karmic ties, that you break this drainage of energy. Because now you're getting to your roots. You're getting to what's important to you. Not what's important to everyone else. What's important on your behalf to invest for other people. Right? You have the South Node traveling at the top of your chart, where you have extended yourself to the world, where you have been contributing in a way that does not serve who you authentically are, is being transcended. And so at the end of the month, from July 30th through the 31st, we have the first quarter square of the moon in Scorpio in your opposite sign, right? In square to the Sun and Mars in Leo at the bottom of your chart. And we have Venus entering Cancer, your third house. So Taurus, at the end of the day, we come to the pinpointing of your flame. And how you pinpoint your flame, how you pinpoint your passion, is reflected in your environment, in who you surround yourself with, in your one-on-one relationships, in how you relate to society, right? You do not need to bow down to reality, Taurus. Your world, in a sense, surrenders to you when you value your own flame, when you come home to your own truth. This is when reality follows suit, right? You work from the inside out versus the outside in, versus the way you have traditionally been conditioned to think that you must change your reality from the outside in, right? From the material world in, from the visible to the invisible. Everything is reversed now. If you want a new sense of passion in your relationships, passion in how you contribute to your life and the people around you, it all starts with you, Taurus. It all starts with your own value towards the invisible, the underhanded, the underworld of your own being, right? Your own imagination, your own vision, your own creative potential. So thank you very much for watching, Taurus, and I hope you have a wonderful July preparing for the eclipse season next month. And if you want any more information that can contribute to your own chart, right, I encourage you to look at your sun, moon, and rising/ascendant sign. Any of the videos that are available for the other signs. And if you do not know your sign, your personal signs, if you do not know your sun, moon, or rising sign, I have a link in the description for you to be able to calculate what those planets and points are. So again, I hope you all have a wonderful month, and I will see you all next month.